Hey everyone, welcome back to AG Motion Designs. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to create the stunning and complex motion graphic animation inside Adobe After Effects, all without any third-party plugins. We'll be diving into one of 5 visually rich scenes I have created, and one you are seeing on the screen right now is the one we'll break down step by step. I'll also be sharing some powerful tips and creative tricks to help you push your motion design skills to the next level using just native After Effects tools. Now, if you want to unlock the full project, all 5 scenes plus exclusive content like project files, detailed scenes breakdown, extended tutorials, early access to upcoming videos, you can join my YouTube membership Motion Pro. It's packed with the value for anyone serious about motion graphics. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss any update. Now let's jump in and enjoy the magic of motion. Now, first thing first, we need to create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. And width is 1920 and height is 180, frame rate is 30, and duration we are going to choose not too much, but let's say somewhere around 1 minute long. And background color is black color, and simply hit OK. Then we will go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Now I'm going to create another composition and I'm going to call it as Nucleus 1, or let's say 01, and width I'm going to choose 500 and height as well 500, and simply hit OK. Then I'm going to select my ellipse tool, and for the fill I'm going to choose, now this theme is going to be somewhere around bluish green, so let's try to pick up that color. I'm going to pick up this color and simply hit OK, and simply double click to create one ellipse. Now let's choose full resolution so we can see this like that. If I hit play, let's press S for scaling option and let's scale it a little bit. Now after that, I'm going to select this, right click, go to the layer styles, and we are going to choose bevel emboss and go to the blending options, and let's increase the size of this bevel emboss. And now in shadow color, I'm going to choose complete white color over here, as well as over here. Let's choose somewhere around like this greenish color over here. And instead of screen, I'm going to choose multiply. Similarly over here, let's try to choose multiply or overlay. So you will get this kind of structure over here. And if you want, then you can change the angle of this one, so you will get different results. So now in this one, what I'm gonna do, in this blending option, this angle, I need to animate this. So initially I'm going to make this 0 and I'll create one keyframe. Then I'm gonna go somewhere around 10 seconds and I'm going to make this rotation 5, and I'll alt click on this stopwatch and I'll apply loop out expression on it. Okay, so let's apply loop out expression. Oops, loop out. Yeah. So what will happen, that I'm going to get this animation continuously, and this is going to be my nucleus. Now let's go to the main animation, or you can control N and let's type scene 01, and width I'm going to choose 1920 and height I'm going to choose 180, and simply hit OK. And let's bring our nucleus is at the center. Then press S for scaling option and let's scale this nucleus like that. So okay, now this is going to be my nucleus. Now around that there should be some orbits, and there in that orbit there should be some rotations of different atoms. So what we can do is I'm going to select this nucleus over here and I'm going to hit Control D. I'll hit double click to open this comp. I'll hit Control K, and instead of nucleus 202 I'm going to call it as atom 01, and I'll hit OK. Then I'm going to select this shape layer and I'll hit Control D. I'll select this first layer and I'll decrease the size. And for the second one, I'll press S and I'll increase the size. But along with that, I'm going to press T and I'll decrease the opacity to 10. So I'm going to get this kind of structure. After that, I'm going to select this portion and I'll hit Control D. And this time I'm going to delete this fill because I don't need that. And for the stroke, I'm going to choose white color, and let's select this and go to the search option and search for size. then select this and let's increase the size of this. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in add menu and I'll bring my trim path. Then in trim path, what we can do is that I'm going to make this end value 80. So as you guys can see, now this path has been trimmed. Now I'll click on this stopwatch and you can apply one expression called time star and let's make this 30. Okay, so we will get this kind of rotation animation over here. Okay, and you can select this and press S and you can adjust the scale of this. Now press Ctrl K over here and instead of naming it as atom, I'm going to call it as electron 01. Okay, like that. So now let's go to our scene 01. Now what I'm gonna do, I need orbits there around this atom. So for that, I'm going to select my ellipse and I'm going to create this kind of orbit over here like that. So let's select this orbit and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Then I'm gonna go in Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically like this. Now this is going to be the orbit. So let's select this, hit enter and let's call it as orbit like that. Okay. Now I can select this. I can go inside this ellipse path. We are getting something like this. Then in stroke over here, you will get this option taper and let's increase the start length to somewhere around like this. Okay. So I think there is one error. So let's adjust it over here. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of path. Similarly, end length, I'm going to make it somewhere around like this. So we will get this kind of, path options. And obviously, you can play around with these options, but I'm going to go and make this end length to 30 and the start length to somewhere around 30 only. Okay, so if you maximize this, you will get this kind of path over here, or you can say orbit. I'm going to select this orbit and let's make this stroke width to somewhere around 1. Now I'm gonna go and bring my electron composition over here, which is this one. Let's press S and bring this somewhere around over here. Now what I want that this electron should rotate around this path on this path, not rotate around this path. So what we can do, I'm gonna go select this orbit. I'll go inside this. Let's select this ellipse path over here. Go inside this ellipse path, then select on this ellipse path, right click and convert to Bezier path. Now let's go to the path and create one keyframe on this path. Now select this path and hit Ctrl C. Select this electron, press P for position. Select this position and press Ctrl V on that path. Okay. Now if you see over here, there is some mismanagement over here. So to fix that, what we can do, first of all, you need to bring your time indicator at any keyframe or make sure that you should select those keyframe and then try to match this path with this orbit. Okay, so now if you're gonna see this, we will get this kind of animation, and now by holding Alt, I'm going to bring this value to 5 seconds. Okay, so I'll get a little bit rotation. Then let's select this, press S and let's make this scale to 10. Now I'll go inside this electron, I'll select this portion, press T and I'm going to make this 30. Okay, so if you go to the scene 1 and play, you will get something like this. Now after that, I'm going to select this orbit and let's go over to the add menu and let's choose trim path and go to the start, go to the trim path and let's alt click on this stopwatch and let's type time star 100. And now if you see this, as you guys can see, we are getting this little bit movement in this path as well. If you see, we are getting this movement over here as well. Now let's select this electron and make it a parent with this orbit. Now let's select this orbit and this electron and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and let's bring them at the top. Select this orbit, press R for rotation and let's rotate it like this and press S for scaling option and let's scale it like this. And select this electron, press S and let's increase the size of this electron. Similarly, select this orbit again and hit Ctrl D and let's bring them at the top. And again select this orbit, press R for rotation and let's rotate it like this. And let's press S and let's increase the size of this. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now Let us select this electron and this orbit and press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as orbit animation 01, and I'll copy that text and hit OK. Similarly, select these two, press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as orbit animation 2. Select these two, press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as same, but this time 03. Okay, so now if you see this properly, we are getting this animation, but they are animating one like same in the same speed they are animating. So for that, what we can do, we are going to change this values like that. Select all of this, and let's try to bring this portions over here. And now if you see this animation, we will get something like this. Now let's go inside any one of those. For example, let's go inside this and hit U. And what we can do over here, we will select this electron position path over here, and we are going to alt click on this stopwatch, and we are going to type loop out expression. I'll copy that loop out expression and then go inside all of this orbit, hit U, alt click, and simply press Ctrl V. Basically, we need that loop out animation for each electron. Okay, like that. So what we can do, we will get that animation continuously. Now let's go inside this orbit 1, select those position keyframes, and by holding Alt, I'm going to bring them up to this. So what will happen, we will get that animation a little bit faster. Similarly, go inside this, select those. By holding Alt, I'm going to bring this a little bit more closer. So what will happen is that this animation is going to be a little bit faster, like that. Okay, so we will get this kind of animation. Now, this atom should move along with this nucleus. So let's select all of this orbits at animation. Let's make it apparent with this nucleus. Now select this nucleus, press R for rotation, create one keyframe. Then I'm going to go somewhere around 8 seconds, and I'm going to make this one complete rotation. So now if you see, we will get something like this. And let's bring this portion over here. So we are going to get this kind of animation. Okay. Now, after this, what we are going to do is that we need some background elements in this animation. So press Ctrl Y to create one solid background, and we are going to create some dark grayish color background, and hit OK and hit OK, and let's try to bring this backwards. Okay, now this is nucleus, this is all orbit atoms. Now there should be some background over here. So for that, I'm going to select my ellipse, and by holding Shift, I'm going to create this kind of ellipse. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home and hit enter, and we will call it as BG circle. And let's try to bring this backward. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally, and then align it vertically, and let's delete this stroke like that. Go to the fill option and choose gradient and hit OK. Select your selection tool and bring this point downward, and let's bring this point upward like that. Now let's go to this gradient options over here. We are going to choose this kind of color over here, which is this one. You can check it out. You can choose accordingly. I'm going to pick up something like this. And over here, I'm going to pick up something which is similar to that color, but it should be a darker one. Okay. And select this portion of this color, and let's try to bring this opacity to somewhere around like this. And let's increase it to something around like this and hit OK. Okay, so we are gonna get this kind of structure. You can select this over here. For this portion, let's not choose complete darker version of that color. Let's choose something around like this. Okay, this looks good to me. Now let's go to the stroke, and let's add a white color of the stroke. Okay, so if you see this in full resolution, we are gonna get something like this. Now I'm going to select this BG circle, and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Select this BG circle, let's delete this field, we don't need that. And for the stroke, I'm going to pick up this color over here, and let's increase the stroke width to 20, or let's say 10, and let's press S, and let's make this 110, or let's say 101. Okay, so we will get something like this. Or let's make this 20 and press T for opacity, and let's decrease the opacity or something like up to this. Okay, if you make this, you will get something like this structure. Okay, now after that, again I'm going to select this BG circle, and instead of BG circle, I'm going to type stroke. Select this BG circle and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring this at the back. And this time let's press S for scaling option, and let's scale this size, and press T for opacity, and let's decrease the opacity somewhere around like this. Similarly, select this and let's change the stroke width to 10, or let's make this 5. Or I think we need to delete the stroke, we don't need that. But again, after that, select this BG circle, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, and let's call it as BG circle stroke, and press T for opacity. And this time I'm going to increase the opacity to 100, and I'm going to delete that field, I don't need that. And for the stroke, I'm going to choose white color of the stroke, and let's make this stroke width to somewhere around 2. Then we'll go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Then go to the trim path, and let's make this value 80. And then alt click on the stopwatch, and let's type time star 80. Okay, so we will get something like this. Now let's make this quad resolution like this. Okay, and after that, let's select this BG circle and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring this at the bottom, press S, and let's increase the scale, and press T for opacity, and let's decrease the opacity. Press R for rotation, and let's rotate it like this. Okay, so we will get something like that. And then again, I'm going to select, this time I'll select this PG stroke, and I'll hit Ctrl D, and I'm going to bring this over here. I'll press S, and let's increase the scale. And this time let's select this, press V, go to the stroke color. With the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this color and hit OK. And let's increase the stroke of this somewhere around like this, and let's decrease the color value to somewhere around like this. Okay, over here like that. Now let's select this, press S, and unlink this, and let's make this minus value of 230. Okay, so if you see this, we are gonna get this kind of animation over here like that. Now let's save this file. Okay, as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now I want to create one animation which is going to follow this path, so which is I think this path over here. So let's try to create some animations around this path. So for that I need that electron atom again. So let's select this electron composition and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Let's go inside this, and let's make this full resolution. And this time I'm going to change the color of this one to somewhere around some more greenish color like this. I think this looks good to me. And let's bring this electron tooth over here. Okay, let's press S, and let's increase the scale, or let's try to bring this somewhere around over here and bring this at the top. Press S for scaling option, and let's scale it over here like that. Now after that, I'm going to right click new and create one null object, which is going to be over here, and this null object is going to be the controller of for this electron. So let's call it as electron controller and select this electron and make it a parent with this electron controller. If you select this electron controller, press R, and if you rotate it, as you guys can see, we can rotate this electron like that. Now let's select this stroke over here, which is this one. If you enable this, as you guys can see, we will get this stroke. Now let's select this stroke and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring this at the top. Let's enable this layer and this layer over here, and if you hit play, we are getting something like this, but we don't want this animation over here. So what we are gonna do, let's select this electron and let's rotate it somewhere around like this with the help of this electron controller. I'm going to select this BG circle stroke and let's go to the contents, ellipse and trim path, and we will alt click on this to replace this. I'm not replace but remove this offset keyframe. Let's make this end value to somewhere around over here. It should touch the back of this stroke, and let's bring the start value to somewhere around like this. And this time let's increase the stroke width a little bit over here, and let's go to the stroke, and with the help of this picker I'm going to pick up this color and hit OK. Now let's go to the ellipse path, or let's go to the stroke options, and let's bring taper over here, and let's bring the end length to somewhere, or start length to somewhere around 100 or something. Okay, so we'll get this kind of portion. Now as you guys can see, it's gonna give the tail like look to this portion, and select this BG circle and make it apparent with this electron controller. And if you disable this, and as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of portion. You can select this BG circle stroke and you can increase the size of this anytime you want. Now let's select this electron, press R for rotation, and let's rotate it like this. Let's create one keyframe over here, go to around 8 seconds, and let's try to bring this from here to here like this. So if you see this now, we are gonna get this kind of animation over here like that. So okay, now let's select this BG circle, this and this, and press Ctrl Shift C, and we are going to call it as animation of electron with tail. Okay, I'm going to select the same, hit Ctrl D, press S, unlink this, and let's make this -100. So, and let's make this -100 on this axis as well. So now if you see this, we are gonna get this kind of animation over here like that. So okay, now after that let's go inside this electron over here. I'm going to select this electron one I'm talking about. Let's press S, select this background portion, which is this one, create one keyframe over here, and then go somewhere around 1 minute, create another keyframe, and in middle of that let's make this value somewhere around over here. Now let's select those keyframe, and we are going to type F9 over here, then alt click on this stopwatch, and let's type loop out expression over there. Okay, like that. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation. Let's select this keyframe and hit Ctrl C, open electron 2 layer, select this last keyframe, last and layer, select this and hit Ctrl V, or press S. So as you guys can see, we get the same thing over here. So now if you see this thing in scene 1, we are gonna get something like this. So over here. Okay, now all this stuff is ready. Now we need to add some extra element to this layer. So for that, first thing first, we will save this animation, and I'm going to select this electron and hit Ctrl D to make electron 3 and go inside this. And this time I don't need this stroke and this background. This stroke. We need only this one, and I'll go to the color options. Not this, but gradient options over here, and I'll pick up the gradient and hit OK. And let's bring this portion over here, and let's bring this portion over here. And this time I'll go and delete the layer what we call layer styles. Let's go to the fill options and let's change this color to somewhere around like this, and this color to somewhere around like this, and over here in downward color I'm going to decrease the opacity because I don't need any opacity. Okay, and let's try to select this color in a little bit grayish format. Okay, let's bring this portion and bring this portion over here. Now let's go to the scene 1 and I'm going to bring my electron layer over here, and let's try to bring this electron layer over here. Press S and let's decrease the size over here and hit Control D, and let's bring this over here like that. Hit Control D, let's bring this over here, and let's bring this over here. Hit Control D, let's increase the size over here. Again hit Control D and let's bring the size over here like that. So okay, let's select all of this electron, go to the effect and presets panel, and we are going to search for wiggle position effect, and if you hit play we are getting the small wiggle animations. Now select this electron. Along with that I'm going to apply Gaussian blur on this, and let's double click to apply Gaussian blur, and let's make this value to 200, or let's say 15 would be enough. And select this Gaussian blur, hit Ctrl C, select this alternate layers and hit Ctrl V. So we are gonna get some extra layers over here. If you see this all stuff in full resolution, we will get something like this. Okay, so now let's make this quad resolution and let's save this file again. Now, as I said that we need to add some extra elements. So for that, I'm going to select my pen tool, and for that, let's type from here to here. I'm going to create one stroke. I don't need any fill, so I'll delete this fill. And for the stroke width, I'm going to make this 1 pixel stroke width, not too much. And let's choose white color for the stroke. And simply go to the trim path, go to the add, choose trim path. Let's make this end value 0, create one keyframe at start and end. Then go somewhere around 1.15 frames. Let's make this value 100 as well as this value 100. Select those portion and let's bring this over here. Now select those keyframes and we will hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. So if you see this animation now, we are gonna get something like this. Now let's go to the start, create one keyframe, and goes around 3 seconds, we will create another keyframe. Now we will alt click on this stopwatch and we are going to search for loop out expression over there. So let's type loop out. Okay, so what will happen if I enable this portion? If you see, we'll get first this animation over here like that. Okay, actually I forgot to add loop out expression over here, so let's type over there as well. Okay, so after that this is going to create some repeating animations. So let's select this, hit Ctrl D, press R, and let's rotate it. Again hit Ctrl D, press R, rotate it. Again hit Ctrl D, press R, rotate it. Again hit Ctrl D, press R, let's rotate it over here. Again hit Ctrl D, R. So basically I am rotating in alternate directions as well as alternate rotation values. You are free to choose any type of rotation value you want. Okay, I'm gonna stick up with this one. Okay, so now if you see, and if I hit play, I'm getting this kind of animations. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to adjust them alternately. So what will happen because of this, I'm going to get different results for each and every time. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select all of them, and again we will try to create some alternate values. Okay, and this time we will take some more distance between these animations. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of continuous effect. Okay, let's go somewhere around at this point. Select all of these layers, hold Alt, open square bracket to trim up to this. Go to the start, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll bring them over here. Then I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and I'm going to call it as animation of lines and hit OK. And let's press Ctrl S and let's delete it. So now if you see this properly, we are getting this kind of lines over here, and let's make this full resolution. Okay, and if you see this now, we will get this kind of atom effects. Now, because this is going to be the starting portion of this animation, so let's try to create it properly. Now after that, hit U and right click new and create one null object and hit enter, and let's call it as cam controller, like that. Select all of these layers, and those layers who are already parented with someone, for example these all are parented with the nucleus, so by holding control simply deselect those layers and make it a parent with this cam controller. Now select this cam controller, press S for scaling option, create one keyframe, go somewhere around 1 or 1.15 frames, create another keyframe, go to the start, and let's make this value 150, like that. After that, simply right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for CC lens and double click to apply. And let's increase the size of this angle somewhere around like this and create one keyframe. Hit U, go over here, and let's make this value somewhere around like this portion. And select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here, and let's make this quad resolution. So if you see, we are gonna get this kind of effect. Now if you want, then you can zoom in properly to this. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation happening over here. Let's bring this portion properly over here, like that. Similarly select this and let's move this over here. Okay, like this. Now let's select the cam controller, press P, alt click on this portion, and let's apply wiggle 3,3. So what will happen along with this, we are gonna get some shaky animation for this entire stuff. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. So yep, this is how our first scene is ready. After this, we will start to create some new scenes, and we will try to